everybody. Welcome back to Stories with Bree. I'm super excited for my new guest today. His name is Giovonni Gifft, and he's going to tell you a little bit about himself. You have the floor.
Hi, everyone. I'm Giovonni Gift. I'm a physical education teacher here in Las Vegas, Nevada, at the Clark County School Districts. I've been teaching for 7 years. I just finished my 6th year, so I'm going into my 7th year. And it's been health, physical education from K through 12, every grade except 6th, 7th, and 8th. I refuse. um, yeah, been teaching that for 7 years and I love it. And that's why we're here today, because I decided to write a book about it.
Oh, don't do the babies like that. say 7 to 8, but I mean, I ain't gonna hold you. I do understand completely, but
Right?
middle age is definitely, it takes a special person to work with middle-aged students, and that's not me. So I appreciate all my educators.
For real. They're definitely in a transition stage at that time. And
Mhm.
I just, during my student teaching, I never taught it. So when it came to just applying for jobs, I never really stepped into that middle school realm. I remember being in middle school myself, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember middle school.
I feel for those teachers.
Yeah,
They're
I'm
great. They're
sorry.
great teachers.
Yeah, I'm sorry to all my middle school teachers. I'm gonna tell you this now, because I know about 8th grade, I was hell. I'm gonna be honest. I know I was, but
Right.
I was going through a lot in 8th grade. But it takes a special type of person to educate our children anyway, period. Because that, I just, like I said, it ain't for me. Although kids kind of like me, that's just ain't my thing. I rather deal with adults. But so hats off to you on your 7th year as a teacher. That's super exciting, and it's definitely an accomplishment.
Thank you. I'm actually the reverse. I'd rather deal with children than adults.
Hey, yeah, I know a lot of people that I know and love rather deal with children than adults, which is so funny to me. But yeah, I get it. So I want to start you off with some icebreakers. Each guest that I have, I ask them at least 4 icebreakers just to kind of like get us started and um, get us out the gate and getting to know each other, because this is literally almost like a blind date every time I come on, because that will be my first time meeting people. So I like to like make sure that the room is nice and that everybody feels comfortable. So my first
Right.
icebreaker for you is, if you can remember, what was your favorite childhood book?
My favorite one. Uh, so I like the Bernstein Bears. My book is kind of based off that style. When they had, like, they were doing like activities, and the son was following the dad, and he was like riding the bike, and he was crashing, but was still trying to teach him how to ride the bike. My style is like that, so I would say the Bernstein Bears. But if he's not canceled, or if he is, my favorite is Dr. Seuss Walking in My Pocket. I really love that book, just because I love the rhyming scheme of, like, there's a rocket in my pocket, and he made up all the words. They weren't Those words didn't fit into anything, and you still understood what he was trying to get across, and I really like that too.
Absolutely. Dr. Seuss is not fully canceled. Some of his books are canceled, but
Mhm.
he's still here, alive and well. And I appreciate the family, because they did discontinue some of the things that were, racially insensitive. So I respect that. But Dr. Seuss is still alive and well and still well loved. And I actually, you mentioned something which has not been mentioned here yet, which is the Bernstein Bears. I love the Bernstein Bears as well. I used to watch the show faithfully on
Really? Yeah.
PBS, faithfully. So that's a little, toast in my little heart and my my childhood. So I appreciate that you enjoyed that book series. It was definitely great. And so my next question for you, like I said, I understand that you're educating, you're a teacher. However, do you have a
Mhm.
library card?
I do not. I don't have a library card because I'm in the schools. We have libraries, so
Mm,
I'm always in there. I get the books from them. I get to order from them. They've given me nice tools where you can order online, so I go through them, or like an Amazon or a bookseller. So I do not have a library card. My mom's gonna watch this interview. She has like 1,000 library cards, and I'm over
yes.
here with one. Clark County uh, schools and Clark County libraries. I will get one this week.
All right. Hats off to mom. I'm silently judging you because I am a librarian by
Oh,
profession.
I know. I felt it.
No, it's okay. It's okay. But I let you slide because you are utilizing your school library, so you get a pass because of that. But otherwise, I would be judging you openly. But make sure that you definitely, if you can, if you have any interest, just check out your local library because they have a lot of resources as well that can help you in your classroom or in just your personal life. And you're paying your taxes, so you might as well get your library card. So.
Right.
Um, Shout out to Billy Allen,
I was
actually.
gonna say that. I was gonna say you beat me to it. Shout out to Billy Allen for putting this
Yeah,
together.
absolutely. Thank you, Billy, for linking us. So I appreciate it. So we're gonna make sure that Billy gets you a library card.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say I'm just gonna go see Billy, get the library card,
Go see Billy. Yes.
and
So are you a digital or pen and paper type of person?
pen and paper. My first, because Run is a, we'll get into the book later, but Run is a series of health books.
Mhm.
Um, and I wrote my first four all on pen and paper, just writing it down, generating ideas. I got it from like the style and just writing pen and paper from Malcolm Gladwell.
Mhm.
He always said, just hey, if you just, because I would type usually. I would originally going to school, college, I would type everything, and then I would just stop where I was and lose it, and then walk away, and kind of give up really. But on pen and paper, I can kind of walk around with it. I have my composition right here, and he always said that like you'll another day you'll generate another idea, so don't give up. So I keep my composition here, and then I'll write until I can't anymore. It's more intuitive for me, and then after that I just stop. And then when I stop, I just I'll go on a run or a nice little jog or something, and then I'll think of those next words or those next things to say, and then I just keep going from there. So pen and paper is the way to go, especially it's kind of cryptic for me because my handwriting is so bad. So nobody could ever
Oh,
happen to this. So
no.
I really do prefer just that pen and paper style.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, my penmanship is not terrible. It's not probably the prettiest, but yeah, I understand. I'm not really a pen and paper person, but I have been getting more into pen and paper for journaling purposes and stuff. I don't journal as much, but I agree with you. It's something about physically writing things down and then just kind of leaving them and then coming back and see what you wrote and think about those ideas. Um, I have written a lot of my stories because I'm also an author. So I've written a lot of my stories out just to kind of like get that out of my head and things of that nature. But I do a lot of stuff digitally. I don't know. I've always just been that way. So I do a lot of things digitally, but I don't judge you for using your pen and paper. I think that's pretty cool. I think most of the children's authors that I've been listening to or talking to, I think they all do pen and paper a lot. So that's fun to see that that's kind of like a theme in that genre. So you mentioned Mr. Gladwell. So is that your favorite author slash writer, or do you have someone else?
Oh, now he's my presently, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I love all of his books. I'm rereading Blink right now. Talking to Strangers is my absolute favorite. Bomber Mafia is so good. So there's so many of his books. I just like the style he takes and the research that he does. I really do like the research back writing and you know
Okay.
all that good information. I love to learn. As a teacher, I love to learn. So him giving me that new information and it comes in a fresh way. It's definitely fulfilling for me.
I would hope so as a teacher, as an educator that you love to learn. I would hope so.
Right? You would think.
I would hope so, because if you training the people, you need to learn how to, learn to teach people and always keep yourself up to date. So I would hope you love to learn, because if you didn't, I'd be like, okay, wait a minute. Um, you educating the babies. We gonna
Right?
we gonna have to reevaluate this, but I'm
Mhm.
glad to know that. So you kind of got into your writing style and you writing a story. So and you mentioned some parts of your creative process. Would you care to share any more about that?
I'm sure. So I really, this is something I've always wanted to do, writing children's books ever since I started teaching elementary K through 5, my first year teaching. I realized that the content wasn't really there, and if it was there, it was in like a health based style. It was a lot of information, a lot of data, a lot of stuff that kids didn't really want to listen to.
Mhm.
And I found it hard to just expound on that and make it just interactive and fun. On the PE side, it was a little bit easier because you can make games, with nutrition toys and games like that to help them understand. But on the health side, it was a little bit more difficult. So when it came to creating this book, I just found YouTube, look through all these writers who've written other children's books before and seeing the process that they went through into finding illustrators, getting certain editors self-publishing, and trying the best way to put everything together myself.
Mhm.
Um, I'm a track coach as well, so I run a lot. I ran this morning. I ran all the
Nice.
time. My mom was a runner. My family, they were in the military, and they ran like every morning. So it's always been something that's been instilled in me, and it's the reason that Run is my first book is because that's something that we all do. Everybody knows that Giovanni is gonna go for 10 miles today or whatever. It's a common joke to everybody, like, oh, how many miles did you run? But they know that I'm very adamant about physical activity and just physical education. So the first book is Run. When it came to just getting the characters, I had to search high and wide for some good illustrators, somebody who I know would keep the style that I like. If you look over my left shoulder, these are some of the paintings that I started with, just being in a studio apartment, just putting some stuff together and trying to, not really knowing what I was doing, but trying to get uh, what I liked, what I like envisioned, and through the process of just searching through those illustrators, I found a guy named Antonio Santos, and he just, like, everything that I wrote, he can just put on paper, which I love so much, and we have a great relationship. So he's done 2 of my books thus far, and hopefully he'll do the third one as well. I'm gonna send this to Antonio when we're done. So he knows. Shout out to Antonio Santos, great illustrator out of Brazil,
Okay.
and I think he just signed for a major publishing house out there.
Oh,
And
wow.
he's just, I really like the way the characters look. Uh, my book is very diverse. There's a whole lot of Black kids in there. That's something you don't really see in a whole lot of, like, just textbooks and schools. And the goal for the series of these books are to eventually get into, like, the school libraries and the schools, so these kids are able to see themselves and doing healthy activities to inspire them to do more. I think I covered. Did I cover creative process? Kind of,
You
sort
sure did.
of.
Absolutely. And yes, a good illustrator is super important. I have not had the privilege of working with many children's writers and many children's authors. I'm not an illustrator, but I'm also a publisher. So I wear many hats. But I have not had the opportunity to work a lot with a lot of children's authors, but one of the major things is trying to find an illustrator that can create black, diverse characters, black characters, and make sure and make them look interesting and not make them look like, flat, and make you feel like, oh, this is something that I want to look at that is aesthetically pleasing. I was just working with someone whose book is set to launch very soon, and the illustrations in her book is amazing. And I was like, let me remind and remember this woman. Her illustrator is another woman. So I was like, let me remember this lady so that in the future, when I do have children's authors who come to me and we talk, like, I'm like, yeah, I got somebody for you. So yeah, I definitely agree with you that that can make or break a children's book because kids are always looking at pictures, they're always wanting to be engaged. And so if your book is boring, And if it's got a lot of words in it, and then on top of that, the pictures ain't hitting on nothing, them kids don't want to see
Right.
that.
No, they don't. They really don't.
They don't want to see that. So I appreciate the fact that you did take the time to just deal with those little intricate moments and intricacies about children's writing and children's literature. And YouTube University, as I call it, is good for
Mhm.
everything. You can find all kind of stuff over on YouTube. So I
Everything.
appreciate it.
Yeah, me too. Me too. It's definitely a learning tool that I think everybody should really take advantage of. Anything you want to learn, like for me right now as a teacher in the summertime, is car stuff. Like I'm trying to fix my car up, do whatever, and
Okay.
like they have all the videos, everything
All
you
of
can
it.
do at home. So it's cool.
Everything's over there, and this video gonna be over there too. So somebody gonna run across this one as well.
Right?
Um, so you mentioned that your family has this legacy of running. Your family's military. I have military people in my family as well, and they are very disciplined about the things that they do. They're very strategic. And you said that part of the reason why you decided to write run was because of that essentially being a part of your everyday life. And so, what is another reason that you felt like it was time to kind of like tell this story? I know you mentioned a little bit about there not being books that really represent the health aspect of the education system, but what are other reasons why that you felt like it was time to tell this story?
So like I said, running is a big part of just my family and just the military. Like you said, the military structured style, right? They get up in the morning, they go running, they do push-ups, they do pull-ups, they do people scream at them, all that stuff.
Yeah.
um, and it's something that I just grew up with. Um, Also, my brother grew up with it as well.
Okay.
Um, my brother is Anthony Bradley. He's actually the character based off of the main little kid character.
Okay.
Um, Back in 2019, he passed away. He passed away in a car accident, and it affected our whole family, and it impacted all of us very heavily, and
Yeah.
changed my life, changed my family's life, and with the aspiration of wanting to write a book, and wanting to get like the health components out and reaching kids and trying to inspire them. I also wanted to dedicate something to him, and make his memory just last on. The dedication in the book is actually for him. Um, he and my father have the same name. So my dad is hyped because it's like it's him, but he knows it's really dedicated to Anthony. So um, he was my main inspiration. The reason I continue to write books and just pursue this, trying to be an author, trying to publish, trying to put yourself out there, is because I want to make him proud still. So yeah.
That's so sweet. And my sincere condolences to you and your family as you continue to process that grief, because it is definitely, it takes time. And you
Yes,
take
yeah,
as much time as you need to process that, because I mean, people like to rush those moments, but I don't agree with rushing it. I agree with you just, sitting with it, allowing yourself to process through. Keep living life. Don't stay stuck. But the fact that you have kind of like capsulated his legacy into something and into that space is just a beautiful reminder of the type of love that you all share. So I think that that is great to have that kind of sentimental value. The dedication to me is always important for any book. My book was dedicated to two of my friends who passed away, and so
really.
yeah, so I really appreciate when people have like sentimental value for why they do what they do. And then, like you said, that legacy continues to live on in this physical space that's going to touch, I believe, touch generations. That's just what I'm gonna say. It's gonna touch generations as you continue to try to navigate getting it into school libraries. And I believe that you will be able to do that all across this country, that you'll be able to get your book in those spaces, and that it will just people will just catch on and latch onto it. So would you say that was the hardest part about writing this book? trying to just think about your brother and think about your times with him, or was there any hard moments that you had with writing, or but did it just come easy?
I would say, looking at this book right now, the hardest part, I want to say, would be putting everything all together,
Okay.
like putting the story, getting the illustrating, uh, starting the publishing company, uh,
Mhm. Yeah, that's a
putting
biggie.
setting those goals up, setting those goals up, and then knocking them down one by one, and then on top of that, getting an editor and getting people to read it,
Yeah.
and like being very vulnerable to people about your stories. And I think every part of it was hard. Every part of it was hard, but it's just a process that you just have to go through, and you push yourself through it, and if you keep persevering, you'll get to that finish line, like running.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Self-publishing is not for the faint at heart.
it is
A
not.
lot of people think it is not. Like a lot of people think it's the easy route, but it really isn't. It's actually a little, to me personally, it's a little harder than trying to go with a traditional publisher. Now, keeping in mind that you don't have to worry about always having that maybe rejection aspect that's attached to traditional publishing, but self-publishing, you have to do everything yourself, and you have to learn how to market, you have to learn how to
Yes.
do all kinds of things for your book, and you literally have to do all the legwork, and you find out like, oh, this is why these people have whole departments dedicated to these particular spaces. Like,
Yeah.
as running a publishing company myself, I'm like, yeah, I'm like 10 different people right now, but eventually I'm going to expand. But um, yeah, I see why they charge what they charge and why they charge what they charge. And, not being emotional or being unapologetic about why you charge the prices that you charge in regards to like helping people publish books, and or even the money that you put into publishing your own projects, because it really is a lot. Like there are some things that you can cut corners on, but then you have to think about what is the quality of the product that you're trying to present. And when I can imagine with children's books, it's not, you can't cut too many corners when it comes
No,
to children's books. So I believe you when you said that it was a little hard, all of it, every part, but you got it done. And then you just said you have two books out, or you are about to publish your second book.
so I'm about to publish my second book. The final editing is done. It's called How Important Is an Apple? It's my first nutrition book. The run book is kind of like a boys book. That's the reviews I've been getting. It's kind of like a
Okay.
that's got I mean it's got a father and a son in it most of the time. And then How Important Is an Apple is a daughter and a father, a daughter and a mother, sorry,
Hmm.
going through New York City trying to find apples at a market, and trying to understand the importance of apples and nutrition. So it's a pink book. Run is a blue one. So
Okay.
hopefully it will match together, so side by side. But yeah, I should be finished publishing by next week. But then you know how that goes. It takes like
Exactly.
it takes a while after that. And then,
Yeah, I
yeah, I
do.
should be out maybe mid-June.
Okay, well, exclusive. That book will be out mid-June. I hope you all pick it up and support Giovanni. He's a self-published author. He needs the sale. So definitely, I don't mind you advertising. Advertise yourself. That's what we're here for.
Yep.
That's what we're here for. Um, you mentioned that you said Run is more of like a boys book, but I think that that's very important to see Black fathers and Black sons being represented in books. So, how important was it to you to even see that? Because, like, would you say you've seen a lot of books lately with Black fathers and Black sons, or do you think that it was important for you to create that book so that you could see them?
um, I've never. In recent books, the ones that I've seen, because I recently bought Hair Love,
Yes,
and Hair Love it's a great book.
it is.
You see my dog Bruno right there. But
Hey, Bruno.
definitely, um, definitely want to see more books like it. And the Clark County School District's just in the realm of um, I'm so distracted because of my dog. In the realm of just books, and he was fine just sitting right here. Now he's like, Bruno.
It's okay.
Um, in the realm of just children's books, especially just children's health books, um, uh, especially speaking of just diversity, Black people. I want to keep like the father and son narrative in there. I want to keep the mother. I want to keep the family in
Absolutely.
as much as possible. In all of my books, it's going to be family oriented. It's going to have these kids getting this information
Mhm.
from adults who they're related to, from teachers or just from people who look like them. I really want to just keep that part just in the stories, and I want the kids to see it. And I want them to understand that, hey, like this person that is my father does have information on running, and if he doesn't, like in the book Run, he finds it out for him. So
Yeah.
the son is very curious. He's asking questions about um, why does Miss Joggington go out and go for a run every day, and why is she smiling, why is she so happy when she does it? Because when he runs, it's not really that fun.
Yeah.
And they go outside and they go ask her, like, why do you do this? And she explains it. And I just, as a curious kid, I always like the fact that even if you're not able to know, if you don't know anything right then, you're able to find out. So
Right.
um, definitely going to keep the family aspect in there. It's very important to me. Um, I have a father and a stepfather. They're both very important to me in my life. And my mother as well. So
Absolutely. Don't be distracted by Bruno. He's fine.
Bruno is tearing it up right now.
Okay. So, when you talked about the hardest part of writing this book, what do you find to be like, what was the most fun thing about, you were talking about families and you were talking about keeping the family aspect together, but I want to shift a little bit to ask about what do you think the fun part about writing your stories was for you?
The ideas you come up with in order to generate these stories and how you want to tell them. It was very enjoyable. A goal in my life is after education, um, just to continue writing these books, to continue to create these stories. The cool part about life is that the stories are right there, right? They're right outside. They're right when you teach these classes and you meet these kids and you generate these relationships. They're all right there, and it just takes somebody to write it down. So um, the fun part is making these stories come to life, and like seeing it in your hand, becoming an idea, and then
Yeah.
just being physically in your hand is um, really awesome. It's, when I first got the book, it was glowing in my hand.
Yeah.
I was like, oh wow, this thing really happened. It's really here. So
Yeah.
it's the whole process though. I mentioned earlier that it was hard.
Hmm.
It's at the end of it, it's very fun. It's very rewarding. It's very cool to see like your ideas come to fruition.
Yeah, I know that feeling of having a physical copy of something that you've created in your hands is like, oh, it's tangible. I can see it. I can feel it. Like, oh, this is real. Like, I actually did this. This is something that I accomplished that's going to be here long after I'm, no longer here. So, yeah, I do agree with you that that's the fun point. That's a part of the joy. A little bit anxiety, but mostly joy,
Mhm.
for
Definitely.
sure. And so you are a diverse author because you are an African American man. And how important to you is book diversity, specifically because you are an educator? How important to you is book diversity in the classroom?
Oh, it's very very important. It's absolutely needed. We have to have people with from different ideals, who come from different places, who have different cultures to explain things to students. I, as a in that military family that I'm in, we moved around a lot. I saw a whole lot of different things. I was not just in one spot, and through that, I learned how to generate relationships. I learned how to be in different cultures. Know what it's like to grow up in the South, grow up in the north side of New Jersey, know how to grow up in South Carolina, know how to grow up in all these different places in the United States, and see how different people interact and what they eat and what they do. And when you have people who come from those things to teach kids, it sheds a different light, and
Mm.
that is needed for everyone. Because if we're able to see, um, if people who are different are able to see just uh, how well, like, if people who from different cultures come together
Yeah.
and they're able to share just different outputs,
Mhm.
different learning styles, different things, um, then we'll have a better understanding of who we are, and we'll be able to grow a lot more. So,
I completely, fully, utterly agree with you on that in that regard. I think that the book diversity is very important, especially as in the rearing years, as we call them, the rearing ages for children, so that they can understand that the world is not just in this little small bubble that they live in, but there are other people, other ethnicities, other cultures that kind of contribute to this world that they have to look abroad and live in outside of their home. And so I think the first way for them to discover that is that having books that reflect people and places and things outside of the spaces that they live in, but also seeing books that reflect them and that makes them feel good about who they are and make them feel important, which I think is one of the things that Run is doing. And like you said, teaching them about health education, um, teaching them about nutrition, all of those different things are important as far as building the creating the building blocks for children. And so I think that you're adding to that, and that you're contributing to that in a major way as a educator also. And we might have to start back over because I know that your answer to this question could probably potentially be long. But as an educator, how do you feel about this whole concept of banning books? What are your thoughts on that?
well, I'm absolutely against it. I believe that no book should be banned. I was in a bookstore today, Las Vegas Books. Shout out to Las Vegas Books. They're selling my book right now, and they had Confederate books that from the 1800s that were being sold in there, and I was looking at like, wow, this book is really sold in here. But it's information at the in the least, right? It's an idea. It's something that somebody thought it was important enough to write down and put in a book,
Hmm.
and people should be open enough to read it. You should take everything with an open eye when it comes to just these books, and read everything, understand it all, and
Hmm.
generate your own perspective.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, thoughts and perspectives is very interesting. Like I always say that a good library is a place that has at least one book in it that offends someone,
You got to
because
have somebody in there.
exactly, because that gives them the space to be able to kind of just, everybody finds their own opinion there, and they feel safe and they feel like this is a place that they want to be. Now, keep in mind that, your opinion and how you feel you should be acting shouldn't go beyond your physical space and your ability to be able to interact with other people. Like you should also respect people in that space, because libraries are safe spaces. So please do not be going up in there causing chaos for everybody else to feel unsafe. But at the
Right.
same time, your ability to be able to find something that can work for you is always like super important. Hey everybody, we're back. Bree is not short from me. I'm not short from technical difficulties. So, this happens. Zoom was tripping on us. So I wanted to come back and continue our conversation. We were in a good place. We were talking about book diversity, and we're talking about banning books and why we think that banning books is egregious and is something that shouldn't happen. And I think we both agreed on the fact that there should always be book diversity everywhere. There also should always be in every space that even sells books or, has books in that place, at least something for everybody. But keeping in mind the safety aspect of everything as well. And so I don't want, as talking to you as an educator, the thing that just happened recently this week keeps popping up in my head, and I'm like, let's not go left with this. I want to, I don't want to dim the light and make it like not a happy place. And it's not to say that, there's not a space for that, but it is to say it definitely grieves my heart to even just think about the fact that such things could happen,
Right.
even continue to happen, especially in the United States when it comes to like school shootings and things, and talking about children, how innocent they are. And as an educator, I can understand how that possibly, I can only empathize with you because I'm not a children's educator, but and I don't want to speak for you, but I guess I can give you a moment to talk about how that kind of made you feel, and just thinking about that and processing through, even as you continue to navigate through and create spaces for diversity in every aspect of both education, both in literature. How did that make you feel, just understanding what was going on?
So when you teach in schools now, even shoot, back when I first started teaching in 2016, you start doing these lockdown drills, right? You do them, supposed to do them like once a month. And we have fire drills too, and tornado drills and all that stuff. But the one that I always took seriously was the lockdown drill, because it's a real thing. And at the end of our lockdown drills, I always, whichever period or class I have with me, I always give them a little speech on how, like, the statistics of school shootings, just mass shootings in general. Um, 2000, I want to say 2019 or 2020, we averaged one a week. Um,
Wow.
so I was telling them, like, it's not impossible, right? These are not. It's not like if they're averaging a tornado a week, then you would be looking at it differently too. So I always try to make sure that they have an understanding of the importance of why we're doing this. Um, Even in my health classes, I have had school resource officers come in, and just talk to them about what the process is if something like that were to happen at the school, and what are the rules after that, and how we should conduct ourselves, and what's our ways out, what are our avenues out. And like, teaching elementary is, like, it's hard because I'm laying my life on the line for those kids. Like, you have to. You're responsible for them, and it's so sad to see people getting harmed, and just by doing what they love.
Yeah.
Doing what they love, just getting up every day, going to work, teaching in a climate like teaching right now, and getting up and being there. A lot of the times, even my administration, they're just happy that we're there.
Yeah.
They're happy that we're there, and we didn't call out today, or somebody didn't get sick, or have to work from home digitally or virtually. So you just we try our best to do what we need to do for the kids, and the kids at times they notice. The kids notice. Like, we've had, since 2020, we've had rough days. We've lost people. We've haven't wanted to be there virtual. We haven't wanted to be there physically, just due to whatever may be going on, whether it's COVID, or a mass shooting, or something going on with a protest, George Floyd, or
Yeah.
something's going
Something.
on. And I think what we should do as educators, is just be aware, just know what's going on, not avoid it, and let them know that, hey, this is happening right now, and we understand it. When it comes to the safety in my classrooms and stuff, those doors are always locked. Those doors,
I know that's right.
man, those doors are always locked. And I always tell my students, like, we don't open the door for nobody. I don't care who it is. All the administrators got keys. So I don't know who else is at that door. But it's crazy that we send our students to schools, and we want them to be safe. We expect them to be safe. And we're at the point now where it's a maybe. You don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And it's very sad. Um, every time something like this happens, my dad calls me. Is like, "Are you all right?" I'm just like,
Yeah.
"Texas, it's in Texas, man." but
Hey,
um, right, but it's a it affects it not only affects, of course, the people that are in the school, but it reverberates through the community. It so many people are affected by this. We are, right?
yeah,
And
absolutely.
I just wish that we would just, just love each other a whole lot more. Come with kindness a whole lot more. Just, um, I don't know, just appreciate one another because as I feel like COVID taught us that we can lose a lot more than we think. So um,
Absolutely.
just be appreciative of every day, be grateful, and be kind to one another, please. So
Absolutely. Because yeah, yeah. um, as a as an educator, as an author, as the creative, which I assume that you consider yourself a creative, as a coach, you do a lot. You give a lot out to a lot of different people. Your book, even if it is in the form of a book, if it's in the form of, teaching, in the form of coaching and, life coaching, inspiration, how are you taking care of yourself in the midst of all of these different things? Is your writing, is your authorship, is that a form of self-care for you? Or what do you do outside of course, running, um, for self-care?
I wish I wrote more. Actually, it's definitely helpful.
Okay.
But I meditate
Okay.
a lot, 10 to 15 minutes every morning, throughout my day, in between classes. If it's not that, if I'm not working on just stillness and just focus, I love yoga.
Okay.
Do yoga a lot. And then I remove myself from everything. So there are days where I just take off. I am not coaching. I'm not writing. I'm not doing any of that stuff. And I'm just with me. And that may be like a pedicure that day or a massage or something that's removing me from everything. Because like you said, it can be a lot. And
Mhm.
through that process, of course, you build those relationships, and those relationships can be a lot. Like these people need you to be their coach. They need you to be their teacher. They need you to do the things for them.
Yeah.
So I try my best to take my time and focus, meditate,
Mhm.
figure out what I need for myself. Um, because I was definitely at a point, 2017, where I was like anxiety, like it was right after like the passing of my brother and coaching and all that
Mhm.
stuff, and couldn't I didn't know how to. So just seeking just help through the comfort of my family and uh, being vulnerable, talking to others, sharing your experiences, sharing how you feel, has definitely gone a long way too. So
Absolutely. Because when I think of the when I think of run, or when I think of the word run, I often think of running can mean several different things. In your
mhm,
aspect, running means, health and getting out there, getting on the track. But for some of us, running can mean like literally physically getting away from and removing ourselves from spaces and places that could potentially cause us harm, or that's causing anxiety and things of that nature. So
right,
it's definitely an interesting concept to just think about that. Just think about the word run and what it can mean in different ways of life. It's like you said, sometimes I just disappear and I get rid of everything and I go away from everything, and that's a form of running. But to me, it sounds like a positive form of running. It's not like you're avoiding those things. It's just that
right,
you're saying, I need this moment, I need this time to myself. So I'm gonna run away for a little bit. and, and
right.
and then I'll come back, later and resume my responsibilities. At least that's what you're supposed to do. So for you, even transitioning into just thinking about that, what do you desire? Because you said that you wish you could write more. So, thinking about the fact that you wish you could write more, what do you desire your creative work to accomplish once you release it into the world?
um, I want people to take it all in, have a better understanding of running, enjoy the story.
Mhm.
I think I put a couple little funny notes in there and a couple things that just make it just enjoyable. I want to make a reading enjoyable to young kids. That's one of the first things. Young Black kids for sure.
Okay.
I want people to just have not be afraid of the concept of running. Running is fun.
Yeah.
Running is fun, Bree. I'm saying. So when it comes to um, that and just the enjoyment that people can feel, just when we're talking about things that I do in order to like for self care, I do run as well, right?
Right.
And there's a moment that I have when I do it where I'm completely relaxed, and you can call it in the zone or
Mhm.
runner's high, but I feel really good and really calm, and my ideas and my thoughts kind of organize themselves.
Yeah.
So it's something that I just like. I really do enjoy. It does have that. It does have that other like the other side to it where it can be like running away, and even in the cover, like he's kind of running away from like his dad is cheering him on, but he's like running away. But it's man, I never thought of it like that. That was cool. That was cool what you did just there. Um, oh, I lost my train of thought. I was thinking, I was like, oh man, it is like running away. It is like cool. But I do like to, I do like to run just to help for self care. I do like, I think that the goal of these books are to generate just some fun,
Mhm.
um, get into like some schools, some libraries, have a series of them so kids know, hey, like, oh, this is the one about running. This is the one about nutrition. This is the one about uh, meditation. This is the one about stretching. This is the one
Yeah.
about, and they're all going to be different colors and different, just different little concepts, different kids curious and wondering what these things are, and having parents and adults explain to them like this is what this is, and this is more information about it. So to just spread more information about running, more healthy information just to younger kids, and to get on some shelves.
Yeah.
Books for get on
Absolutely.
some shelves, get in some households, um, get some sales up, of
Absolutely.
course. And I always I want to keep writing because I feel like I wish I had more time to write,
Mhm.
because like I definitely do enjoy it in with coaching and teaching and publishing and being an author. It's definitely time consuming just to sit there and just to get everything else out the way,
Mhm.
and just freely write. But the goal of mine in life is to just
To do
keep
that.
writing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to be able I want to be old and just writing
Hey.
books and coming out with stories and of new concepts of things that I've seen. I had to travel recently to St. Kitts, and I just thought of a story there of this man that I saw, and um, kind of followed him for a day. I followed him for a day to see what his life was like, 'cause it was so interesting to me. And it's gonna be one of my next books too. So
Hey. Yeah.
it's cool to live life and then be able to jot it down and share these stories with people who may not be able to see it, or just don't, who may get tired of just looking at their screen. Right.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
definitely This is definitely a way to get students and children and even parents just away from the screen for a little bit and
Yeah.
look at a book. Look at a book.
Absolutely. And I agree with you. Like, writers find inspiration everywhere. Now that's not me condoning y'all following people. I'm gonna just say that right there. Don't be following nobody, but you can definitely find inspiration everywhere that you go. And it's such a beautiful concept, and I agree with you. I definitely believe that running was a part of your self-care. I could imagine that it would be if you're running 10 to 13 miles a day. Because listen, you ain't doing that if you don't love it. Because no. So it has to be something there for you that makes you keep wanting to do it more and more and more. There's some type of dopamine, hit there that makes you desire to do it more and more and more. And I will say, physically moving your body does help to kind of release stress. It definitely clears my head every time I go for a walk, and I just get to thinking and I feel so clear. I'm out in nature and I'm like, oh, that's a good idea.
Right.
Like, and so I definitely agree with you that it does help to just do that physical activity, because it really just releases this just tension moving out of your body. And I feel like you are in a very unique position, because I have not seen, me personally, have not seen a series of books and information that encourages kids to constantly want and desire to do physical activity. Because when you think about physical activity, at least from my perspective, for me, it always seemed like a punishment. It always felt like you something that you had to do that you really didn't want to do. But I feel like creating stories where it makes it fun and enlightening to kids and make them desire to want to do it, it's encouraging. And I feel like, and if you agree with me, I think that was part of your point. I believe you said that earlier, that was
Mhm.
the purpose, to make kids want to and desire to do these things, and to strip away the negative connotations about it.
Yeah, I want kids to have the understanding that this is fun, that running is fun, and that it's helpful for us, and why people do it. Ms. Joggington ran every day because she loved it, and I want kids to understand that people who do physical activity, like you said, it's not a punishment. When I used to coach football back in the day,
Okay.
that was, you ran, it was because you did something bad.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you did something bad, and then
Exactly.
people would hate it. And then they would go out for like the track day and just like, we have to run now. Like, what is this? But if you just, you have to find the physical activity that you like.
Hmm.
You have to, and that's what these books are gonna like. Well, my goal is to open up have a series of these to where it's not just going to be running, it's going to be maybe biking, it's going to be these other forms of swimming, these other forms of physical activity that you can figure out that you like, that you can do for fun, that you can do for a lifetime. Because we want to be able to generate healthy lifestyles. We want to be able to do these things for forever, to move um, for forever, keep moving
Yeah.
as long as we can. Because the more mobile we are, the more we'll stay alive. So
Absolutely.
let's keep moving.
Absolutely. So, as we get prepared to wrap up, one, thank you so much for being a guest on my podcast. It has been a lovely hour talking with you and getting to know you as a person. I definitely am already following you on social media, so I'll keep up with you there. But what is some advice? As you said, you mentioned that going through the process of self publishing was a little hard for you. However, there are people who desire to kind of like do self publishing and don't really want to go the traditional route. So, if you had some advice, what advice would you give specifically for a writer who is looking to tap into children's literature? What is your advice that you would give that person on trying to get their first book out there, or just writing in general for children?
If you have the passion to put out a story, whatever book it may be, a novel, children's book, um, first thing is finish your story, write it down. Um, a lot of people want to write books. I've definitely met a lot of people who want to write books, who want to self-publish their books, and they never finish the story, or they never think that their work is complete. You're never gonna think that. Like, you're never gonna think that. I look at Run now because I wrote it back in late 2021, and I read it now, and I'm just like, well, this is the first edition, because I definitely want to redo it now. But it's your work is always going to you're always going to want to build off of it. You're always going to want to do more. And that's why James Patterson has a million books, right? Those stories are kind of the same, but the way he builds off of them, the way he puts them together, like you can
Mhm.
continually do that.
Yeah.
Um, this run, yes, it's a finished product, but the next one is going to be even better. So I would just say keep pushing yourself to new limits. Don't limit yourself to one book. Um, Try your best to make more stories. On the publishing side, persevere. It's gonna get rough, but you can do it. For me, the hardest part has been learning about the marketing, and then the bookkeeping. I'm a teacher, so I'm doing lesson plans and managing students daily. I'm not keeping books and marketing and trying to figure out how to get my book out, and book reviews, and all of that stuff. So all that stuff is new to me. But be a constant learner.
Mhm.
And if you have that goal of getting your book out, and that's something you really desire to do, um, you'll get it out. Like just keep working towards it daily, and you'll achieve that goal. Do not quit.
Yeah.
That's the last thing I'll say. Do not quit. If you want to come out with a book, do it. Like do that thing. I'm not gonna curse. Do it though. Go out with that. Go get that book. Go write that book. Take the time that you need to get your idea out because you may be the person to write something that's going to change somebody's life. So
That's
do
so
it.
good. That's so good. As an author and a publisher myself, I fully agree with this message. Because yes, persevere, write the book, get it out there. Try to not make it so rough, but get do the best version of it that you possibly can, and then build from there. You only get better the more you do something.
You want
So
to do better.
continue to
Yeah.
do it. Continue to do it. Because after I wrote my first book, I felt like it was really good, But then as I go back and I reflect, I'm like, oh, there's more. And my level, now that I've gotten that out, my level of writing has changed, or the way that I desire to fully express my voice has changed in
Right.
ways that might not be seen and might be starkly different from my first publication. But the
Mhm.
fact that I did it, it was an accomplishment. And as my grandmother always says, nothing hurts a failure but a try. So get it out there. So like I said, it's been a lovely hour. Thank you so much for being here. Please tell people where they can find you and where they can find Run. Now is a form of marketing and promotion.
All right. Instagram, I am at Giovonni Gift. Altia Books is where the publishing goes to. All you'll see all the new stuff for new book releases, run links, altiabooks.com. Also, another place where you can go to the website, get the books from there. Get the books from there. Available at Barnes and Noble, Booktopia, Amazon, Walmart. Um, all online usually. If you catch it in the store, please let me know because
Yeah,
yeah, that's great. In Vegas, I'm in Vegas locally, so they should be at all the local bookstores in Las Vegas. Um, in LA, shout out to Malik Books, who's now holding my books there, and Hennessy and Ingles, another bookstore out there.
that's
So
awesome.
yeah, we're trying to do some groundwork here.
Yes,
Me and the publishing team, you know,
absolutely.
that's it's just me, but me and the publishing team work. I'm trying to get to these bookstores. And that's something I plan on doing this summer. So I might be in a city near you. Um,
Hey,
yeah, Atlanta, DC, New York this summer at a bookstore. So if you want to check out a local bookstore, you may see you running there soon. Uh, or how important is an apple coming out in June? So
absolutely. And I am here to support you in those endeavors. So if you're on the West Coast, please stop by some of those bookstores that he just mentioned. And we look forward to seeing you out here on the East sometime soon. But yeah, go ahead, put in the work. And I'm super excited for you. So, yes. And thank you all for watching. I hope everyone have a good weekend. See you next time.